Most of us treat beauty like a luxury, listeners. Like something extra, something we earn after the real work is done. We say things like, I'll slow down later, I'll relax later, I'll travel when life settles, I'll enjoy beauty when I have more time, more energy, more money, more space. But then there is this uncomfortable question: what if beauty is not optional at all? What if awe, joy, color, ritual, and even sensory richness, they're not indulgence? It's just not for the privilege, but these are the biological needs. That's a crazy question, right, listeners? Today's conversation, it goes beyond aesthetics. It touches neuroscience, mental health. It touches leadership, somatics, and the environments we live and work in every day. My guest today is Hayley Hunter Hines. She's a globally recognized wellness futurist, the founder of SPARCLE Living, and she has 30 years of experience coming from a background of corporate wellness, holistic consulting, and now she works at the intersection of science and soul. She holds a master's degree in health promotion management and certifications in culinary nutrition, yoga, somatic intelligence, and also, let me tell you, listeners, she is the creator of the Sparkle framework, which is a 5-dimensional evolution of the bio-psychosocial spiritual model that includes something most frameworks leave out. So, listeners, today we are definitely going to question why beauty has been dismissed, who gets access to it, and whether mindful living has unintentionally stripped life of its color. So, Haley, welcome to the Mindful Living. And as always, it is really, really an honor to have you.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. My pleasure to be here.
Um, Haley, I think many of our listeners will think beauty. Most of us, whenever we hear that word beauty, it's more like, the appearance in the physical form. Oh, it's beautiful, it's mesmerizing, it's something that, it's more of an external thing to talk about or to visualize. And then when people would hear that beauty is not optional, immediate pushback. Like, they would say beauty is subjective, it's cultural, it's even superficial. So, from a neuroscience and health perspective, what actually happens in the body when, beauty, awe, or joy are consistently missing?
I think if we look back in history around when the most transformational epochs, right? Like the most incredible renaissance has happened, it's all based on beauty, right? It's art, it's creativity, it's appreciating something outside of ourselves and allowing it to allowing that to nourish us in a way that we may not realize how much we needed it. And so I think the philosophy of beauty and the appreciation of it, again, it is different for everyone, right? We all have a different perspective, a different lens, but looking at things that are aesthetically pleasing nourish us, grounds us, and kind of just brings an appreciation and an awareness that we may not have outside of that perspective. So I think we underestimate how important it is to be surrounded by things of beauty and experiences of beauty, again, defined by individual experience. But at the end of the day, it's whatever that looks like, whether it be museums, art, the ocean, nature, allowing ourselves to be immersed in it and realizing how important it is to have it as an integral part of our life.
Hmm. Hmm. And is there, Haley, is there any evidence that, the absence of beauty can dysregulate the nervous system in the same way chronic stress does?
Absolutely. There's actually research around, so for example, some like inner city schools in the US, they did research around adding art to the to the walls in the school, adding plants and greenery, and realizing how behavior, like actual behavior, is impacted if there's more art and nature and beauty integrated into the environment versus not having it. So, whether we like to accept it or not, we are creatures of our environment and we are impacted more than we realize. And so, by implementing beauty into an environment, whether it be a workspace, a school environment, etc., it changes our neurological reaction and the way that we show up, and it grounds us and roots us in a way that we probably underestimate.
Hmm. Hmm. That's interesting. It's interesting. Like, um, what I kind of learn is about that. Beauty is not about taste or decoration. Aesthetics, yeah, of course. I think it's about regulation. Like if beauty helps the nervous system feel safe, um, then environments devoid of beauty aren't neutral. They are stressful.
Right. Absolutely. And if you think about the most stressful environments, right? So it's hospitals, probably, it's schools, prisons, it's offices that are bleak and fluorescent light and no aesthetic implemented into the environment. So if you look around, most of the environments that are the most stressful or, activating, let's call it active because it is nervous system activation, not in a good way. Um,
Mhm.
those are what they're white, they're like whitewashed, not warm, the antithesis of what we would want in a calming, soothing, beautiful environment.
Absolutely, absolutely. And um, you speak often about awe as a healing force. This is something that personally, I've never come across. Awe as a healing force, not just an emotional experience. Now, a lot of people, in fact, including myself, associate healing with effort. Like therapy, protocols, discipline. But then awe sounds almost passive in comparison. So how does awe actually interact with the nervous system, Healy, in a measurable way? Yeah.
Well, so some things actually can't be measured, and this may be one of them. But for example, when you put yourself in these situations of beauty, of miracles, of magic, right? So, right now, I'm going to use myself as an example. In the morning, I go out and I walk along the water, which is right outside my door, and I watch the sunrise. And the way that the sun rises and the clouds light up and reflect off the water, and
Mhm.
every day is a different experience. Every day is completely different. Same thing with the sunset. They're never the same, right? Being able to witness and acknowledge and appreciate the uniqueness and the art that is created in the sky, right? That to me is a physical and visual representation of what awe looks like. It's like, wow, it's so beautiful. It takes your breath away sometimes. It's so amazing. And it's unique in its own form in every way. And I think allowing ourselves to just appreciate that is such a gift.
Mhm.
Designing our lives around creating opportunities to have those kinds of experiences is what life really is. Like those moments that you want to take a picture or like it takes your breath away. Like that's really what life is, isn't it?
That's true. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, um, like 20-25 years back, um, sunrise, sunset, nature. It was like, it's there. It's like a friend, always there with us. But right now, when I think rapid urbanization is there. We don't have even time to go out, be out in the nature. We I think we have now started to kind of unintentionally consider this as a huge privilege. And I think that is something it's I think it's sad actually, to be honest.
It is. It is because it's
A quick pause for you listening listeners. If this conversation is already giving you language for what you feel inside, or if you feel it's helping you see your patterns with a little less shame, hit follow. All right, back to it.
the most natural way to regulate your nervous system, establish a biorhythm of like, oh, this is, getting back into the rhythm of life, right? Of nature and allowing yourself to, wake up when the sun rises and when the sun starts to go down, that's when you start to kind of down regulate. So it's just to me, it's just such a beautiful way. And that's just one example of what you can implement into your day-to-day life. But it's such an easy way to be like, yeah, I want to just anchor this in, honor honor the moment of the sun rising, the sun setting. That's just an easy way to regulate your own body into what natural rhythms actually are. Like it's just the most natural thing ever to me.
Totally, totally. And it also feels less like forcing a feeling, and more like removing barriers, like creating conditions where the nervous system is allowed to soften. And I think it shifts responsibility from the individual to the environment, which is a huge cultural change.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's allowing yourself to be more in tune with and regulate yourself around what's much more natural. So, for example, when people have to set an alarm and wake up every morning from a disturbing, I mean, that's one of the most disturbing things you can do is be woken from sleep by an alarm, right? Like your body just to wake up when it wakes up and when it's ready and be like, yep, okay, here we go. Let's do this day. And for me, it's naturally my biorhythm now is where I wake up before the sun. That way I can be out and see the sunrise and enjoy that moment. And that's kind of a moment of what we would say sparkle, like the awe and the wonder and the miracle of the sun rising every day. And then down regulating yourself to where you're ready to go to bed at the time where you can get enough sleep where you can do it again the next day. We don't require, external input to regulate yourself. You can naturally do that on your own if you allow yourself to do it.
Absolutely. I mean, I like whenever I see my grandmother, like she's 86. She wakes up at 5:30 without any alarm, without any alarm. I mean, she has her routine that is still she follows. And sometimes I really wonder, like um how exactly do you define success? Is it like we have shitload, sorry for my language, but like loads of money, or you are popular, or this and that, or you get to have a good sleep, you get to wake up biologically, naturally, without any external forced systems. You get to enjoy your day, you get to um yeah, I mean, sometimes I really kind of it forces me to think about it.
Well, I think it's different for everyone, but I would say, at least for me, it's exactly that. It's being able to wake up when my body's ready and rested to do work that is meaningful, to spend time with people that I love, doing work that I love with ease and grace, and letting it be peaceful and calm and easy. Like, and life is not always easy, right? So there's always going to be the things that pop in, but my regular default is ease and peace and calm. And the more we are relentlessly curating our environment, the more of that kind of experience we can have. It takes it takes effort, right? It's not easy. Like we have spoken about before, if you're doing what everyone else is doing, you're going to get the same result that everyone else is getting, which is stressed, overworked, undernourished, unhealthy, whatever it is. That's not a life, in my opinion. That's survival. And I'd rather create one where I can actually thrive all the time.
Exactly. Exactly. And here let's also talk about your sparkle framework. I mean, it adds beauty and joy as a formal dimension of well-being. Um, in us, some might say that this risks diluting seriousness, that focusing on sparkle could undermine rigor or depth. Why do you believe sparkle belongs alongside biology, psychology, and spirituality rather than being a byproduct of them?
I mean, I feel like it's a comprehensive um, experience, right? Because you're already building the foundation. Like you're already, let's say, for example, someone that's on this path and on this journey of ultimate well-being, ultimate wellness, whatever that might mean for them. They are already in a space of probably mindfulness, of consistent movement, whatever that looks like. They're hopefully nourishing themselves in a way that feels really beautiful. They're also maybe in connection or community, in relationships that are nourishing to them. I
Mhm.
would say the thing that the sparkle kind of energetic is
Mm.
taking it to the next level where it's almost like you do life on a magic carpet ride, right? Where it's less predictable and more exciting. It's less structured and, you know, um, mechanical and more magical. So people that have never experienced it before might think, wow, that just seems silly. But let me tell you something. The moment that you realize that there is another level that you can tap into that is possible and available, if you believe it to be, it is extraordinary what happens and what shows up and the synchronicities and the evidence. There's evidence of magic that happens all the time if you allow it. And so there's a lot of people that unfortunately never step into that dynamic or into that realm. But those that do, I mean, I have a million stories of how people, once they allow themselves, it's remarkable what happens from there.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And have you ever encountered resistance from um, corporate or leadership spaces that, uh, that would probably see beauty and joy, as distractions rather than assets?
I think so, of course. I mean, I've been in the industry long enough to where I basically, I had to prove everything, every philosophy, every concept. I was like, I really think we should be. This was years and like 2 decades ago, at least. It's like we should be talking about stress and how stress impacts what people eat and how they sleep and this, that, and the other. And so over time, I think that there is still a lag, I would say, a definite lag of adoption where
Mm.
if they were more proactive in their willingness to implement certain things, they would almost collapse. I mean, they would collapse so much time and so much suffering for their employees if they would just step fully into the possibility of what's available. It's a deeper understanding of how the human psychological makeup actually works, and that it's not just about a challenge and and how many steps you take and this there's so many other layers and depth to how we are created and what inspires us and what moves us to make change. So that's also partly why I went out on my own as a consultant and advisor, is because I know what I know based on the reality of what I've experienced and what I've worked with in my clients versus trying to prove a business case every day. It just there's such a disconnect sometimes between the corporate reality and real reality of humanity.
Exactly, exactly. I really love what you shared, because um of course it's a productivity driven culture.
Mm.
Sometimes can be, totally blunt, and just a linear straightforward stuff. And I think that resistance makes sense, but then as you describe it, like the sparkle, it's not about constant happiness, like, that la la land or this fluff and all that stuff. It is about aliveness. And I
Mm.
think this
Yep.
is actually what keeps people engaged, creative, and then resilient as well. And I think all of these are absolutely vital, especially in today's scenario.
Yeah, and I think it's yeah, like you said, it's the belief, it's the hope, it's the awareness of the possibility of something more, and allowing that to be part of their day-to-day life is is to me what creates, if you think of the word like when you think, well, when I think of sparkle, it's effervescence. It's a magnetism that emanates from the innermost being, right? It's not always functional, it's not always logical. It's that space between what you know to be true and what you think might be. And that is where the magic happens, is in that space between.
Yep, yep. And before we conclude, I think, the question, this question may feel a little uncomfortable, especially given the name of this show. Um, some forms of mindful living, Haley, they have leaned heavily into minimalism, like
Mhm.
um, um, neutral colors or sparse spaces, like, reducing stimulation. So, do you think the mindfulness movement has, in some cases, drained life of beauty in the name of calm?
I think beauty, well, they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So
Yeah.
whatever beauty looks like and feels like for an individual, no one can determine what that is or looks like other than the individual. So if their version of beauty is bright lights in the big city and bright colors and whatever, then if that's their vibe, that's their vibe, right? Now, I would say there's probably some research that would show the more calming, simplistic vibe may be better for the nervous system, but that doesn't mean we're all created the same either. So to me, at the end of the day, the whole thing should be around what is in the highest and best for the individual that will help them create the environment that is the most conducive for them to be their highest and best expression, right? So whatever that looks like. And if that's huge, art, big bright colors, tons of plants, okay, that might be the vibe. For other people, it might be more minimal, might be more calm aesthetic. But I think giving yourself permission, the bottom line is give yourself permission to do the thing that works best for you, that makes you the highest and best version of yourself. That's what I would say.
That's a really good one. That's a really good one. And I think um, that exactly is the beauty of humanity, isn't it? Like, um, beauty lies in the eyes of beholder. So, um, And I think also that, calm without joy, it can start to feel flat. And then regulation without pleasure, it's just survival. It's not living. So it definitely challenges the idea that less is always better.
Right. Absolutely.
Super, super. So Haley, once again, if listeners they would like to connect with you and definitely explore the Sparkle framework, how they can use that in their daily lives, what would be the easy way?
So the best way to connect is on my little online interwebs home of soulsparkleliving.com. And they can also find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, etc. My full name, Hayley Hunter Hines.
Awesome, awesome. So, listeners, I encourage all of you to go and check out the Sparkle framework. And you can also check out her signature experiences, Soul Sparkle Society, House of Sparkle, the Sacred Shakti Method, which we recently covered in another episode of the Cosmic Conference podcast. So, keep an eye there as well. And I'll have all the details in the show notes, listeners. And um, as we close, I think this conversation it brings us back to the idea that beauty is never, it's not about perfection. It is about presence, about designing lives and spaces that signal safety, meaning, and connection to the nervous system. And Haley, I really, really appreciate that, you are challenging the idea that wellness must be stripped down to be legitimate. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
So, to all the listeners, I'll leave you with this question. Where has beauty quietly disappeared from your life? And what would change if you treated it as essential, not optional? Until next time, keep tuning to the Mindful Living podcast. I'm your host, Sana, signing off. Thank you and take care.